This week's chapter was short, yet it carried within its pages a captivating mix of emotion and suspense, opening the door to many questions despite the limited number of events. It began with the cover, showing Yamato bidding farewell to everyone and setting off on her new journey. Surprisingly, Ulti and her brother have joined her, as if they've become her followers, much like what happened with Oden when he gathered companions on his voyage to discover Wano. This parallel doesn't seem to be a coincidence, but rather a hint that they may eventually become part of Luffy's grand fleet. Then comes the chapter's striking title, Rona, the name of the little girl who became the central driving force of this week's events. Gonko had kidnapped her, but the real threat emerged from Summers, who declared that he would throw her from the top of the Sun World if the Giants didn't burn down Elbaf's library along with all the books documenting ancient history. The scene was shocking, but what softened its severity was Ronya's courage. She displayed immense kindness and a pure heart when she declared that she was willing to sacrifice herself if it meant protecting the books. That moment alone was enough to make her a symbolic figure despite her young age. What's even more intriguing is Oda's choice of the name Rona, which doesn't seem to be random. There's a famous character in Swedish literature with the same name, Rona, the robber's daughter, created by Astrid Lindgren, a brave girl known for her courage and strong will, qualities we've seen reflected in Rona from One Piece. The name may also be inspired by Lake Geronjor in Sweden, lending it a natural and spiritual depth. Alternatively, it might have Hebrew roots drawn from the name Veronica, which signifies victory and true image, adding a subtle layer of cultural richness to Ronya's character. All of this leads us to wonder, could this young girl eventually become a pivotal figure in unraveling the mysteries of the past? While the spotlight was on Rona and the library, Nico Robin emerged as the true hero of the chapter. Without hesitation, she stood up to Summers, fully aware that he is immortal and not easily defeated. She defended the library, her friends, and even the children, becoming, in a way, the guardian of the history she has long sought to uncover. Then came the chapter's most powerful moment, the sudden appearance of Skopper Gaban, who, in a flash, severed Summers' arm in a stunning and unexpected move that left Summers staring at his limb in disbelief. The shock wasn't just in the act itself, but in the fact that the arm didn't regenerate, a sign that Gaban possesses a weapon or ability beyond our expectations, especially given his apparent history with Summers, likely dating back to the God Valley incident when Gaban was part of Roger's crew. But here arises a fair question. Could one of the strongest Holy Knights, perhaps second only to Shamrock, fall so easily? What then remains for Luffy and his crew to face? And could this really be the same threat that Dragon has been preparing for all these years? Yet, those familiar with Oda's storytelling know that things are rarely that simple. Oda often introduces older characters with overwhelming presence, giving them the aura of power and mystery, only to gradually peel it away. We saw it with Rayleigh, who made a strong entrance in the Sabaody archipelago against Kizaru, but later struggled significantly. This might be the path for Skopper Gaban as well. Though he currently holds the upper hand, it's likely the tide will turn in the next chapter, especially if we recall Prospero, who lost an arm in Pedro's explosion, only to return later with a candy replacement. Thus, while the ending of this chapter may seem decisive, it is merely the beginning of a new clash. Summers, the wielder of the thorn fruit, may return in the next chapter with a new arm forged from deadly thorns, more lethal than his original one, reversing the course of the battle and turning Skopper Gaban's swift victory into a shocking counterattack that reveals Summers' terrifying true power. As we've come to expect from One Piece, nothing is ever final, and comebacks are always possible, often stronger than before. So, will we witness a sudden escalation in this fight? Can Skopper Gaban withstand the wrath of the thorns? The coming chapters will tell, but one thing is certain. Oda is only just beginning to ignite the flames of a true war. And while the tension continues to rise in the Elbaf arc, inching closer to its inevitable explosive climax, a careful reader cannot ignore certain narrative contradictions that have begun to slip into Oda's story, like tiny cracks in the wall of an otherwise masterful plot. The first of these lies in the mystery surrounding Skopper Gaban, a man of his caliber, former first mate to the Pirate King, living in Elbaf for over 20 years among giants in plain sight. Yet somehow the world government never discovered him. It simply doesn't add up, especially considering that King Harold himself maintained contact with the government. We even have clear evidence of a magic circle located at the heart of his castle, meaning the government's presence on the island is neither new nor limited. So how is it possible that government agents entered the island multiple times without ever detecting such a legendary figure, while the common folk of Elbaf not only know him, but deeply respect him? Even Summers, one of the strongest holy knights, was visibly stunned upon seeing him, as if he had no idea Gaban was ever there. This eerie silence surrounding Gaban's presence raises a troubling question. Did the government truly overlook him? Or is there a deeper scheme unfolding in the shadows? And the contradiction doesn't stop there. It extends even further to how the world government is handling Luffy's presence itself. How can an organization that was just locked in battle with the Straw Hat at Egghead remain so indifferent now that he's standing on the soil of Elbaf and even proceed with a plan that involves kidnapping children right in front of him? Did they not witness firsthand how Luffy was willing to risk his life and his entire crew to protect Vegapunk? Did they not see him go toe-to-toe with an admiral and 5 of the Gorosei? So how can they possibly make the same mistake again, this time with even more foolish arrogance? This contradiction becomes even more puzzling when we consider the stance of Imusama herself, who didn't hesitate to kill Saturn for his failure to eliminate Joy Boy, and was nearly prepared to hunt him down herself, had it not been for the stored Haki in the ancient robot. And yet, we now see the Holy Knights arriving in Elbaf as if nothing happened. Even more absurd is that one of them explicitly warns against provoking Luffy's anger. What kind of irony is this? Weren't they the ones hunting him just yesterday? How did he go from being the target of their most lethal weapons to a threat too dangerous to antagonize? All these details bring us to 2 possibilities, with no third option. Either Oda made a clear narrative mistake due to the pressure of events and the complexity of the timeline, or there is a deeper layer of the story that has yet to be revealed. And these contradictions are merely gateways to major secrets related to hidden alliances, latent betrayals, or perhaps a well-planned scheme by one of the factions in this battle. Perhaps Gaban wasn't hiding, but rather observing, and maybe the government wasn't unaware of him, but chose to ignore him for greater reasons. The question now is, do we trust that everything is under Oda's control as he has accustomed us to? Or will the unknown in this arc change the rules of the game once and for all? In the end, we can't be certain about what the upcoming chapters hold, as Oda's narrative maneuvering style has always been full of sudden twists and answers that appear when the reader thinks things are clear. What we are seeing now might just be a superficial layer, and Oda is holding the most important cards for the decisive chapter. Perhaps the next chapter will bring explanations for some of these contradictions, or we may be surprised with the revelation of secrets that have been hidden for dozens of chapters. Moreover, the true power of the Holy Knights has yet to be revealed, and so far they seem to be acting cautiously, avoiding any serious confrontations. Are they arrogantly confident or cleverly cautious? Are they avoiding provoking Luffy because they truly fear him? Or do they possess powers that surpass even what we've seen from the Gorosei at Egghead? All these questions make the Elbaf arc one of the most exciting and mysterious arcs in One Piece so far. Will we witness the explosion of secrets in the upcoming chapters, or will it mark the beginning of the end for a conflict that has been simmering in the shadows for 800 years?